Hi, welcome to Gen Next Door, the show where we dive into the minds of business leaders and entrepreneurs. In this episode, we're joined by Chad Nikkel, seasoned business owner, coach, and current president of the Entrepreneurs Organization, Arizona chapter. He spends his time helping founders and executives sharpen their vision, build strong teams, and scale with purpose. We'll explore his journey, the lessons he's learned from coaching, and the insights you can apply to your own company today. So grab your notebook. This one's going to be packed with value. Hi, happy Tuesday. My guest today is Chad Nikkel. He is the Arizona chapter president of the Entrepreneurs Organization, or EO, and has experience in many different industries as a business owner and coach. Chad's perspective will be invaluable in this episode. So I'm glad to have you here today, Chad. I'm going to learn a lot from you today.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. I don't know if I have any wisdom, but excited to talk to you and have the time.
First, we're going to take it way back to your childhood. Where are you from, and what was it like growing up where you're from?
Well, that is way back. I turned 50 this year, so I'm born and raised in Kansas. And on a farm, small community, very conservative community, and I was raised that hard work and do what you say you're going to do is the important thing. If you shake somebody's hand and you look them in the eye and say, "This is what we're going to do," by all means, you find every way possible to do that. So I credit my father, may he rest in peace, for instilling that in me. Let's say, but Kansas, I started my first business there. That was a small roofing company, and I ran that business for 5 years and unfortunately lost that business in bankruptcy, which was a really hard learning lesson for me. I started that business when I was really young, though. I was 15 years old, and there's a lot of things that I obviously didn't know, and that I learned a hard lesson along the way. Okay. Yeah, left Kansas, I think, in my early 20s, and moved to Tucson. So got to Arizona from Kansas.
Oh, wow. Okay. You went to college, Kansas State?
I went to Kansas State. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, so I did not finish college. So not that that's a bad thing, but that it just wasn't a fit for me, right? So my son is currently in pharmacy school now at U of A and is doing great. But entrepreneurship was my path for sure.
That's cool. I know that you started studying engineering. Did you take anything away from engineering that you use now in business?
I think a lot of it is process, right? So a lot of business, the way businesses sort of like don't grow or don't get to the next level or the next thing is they sort of don't have the operating system or the process of the business sort of established. And I think that engineering school did help with some of that. It's like, engineering is very process oriented. We have to do this to complete that, or we have to have this work for this piece to work, right? And business is really no different. It's a sale and then a production typically, right? Like pretty much boil all businesses down to that is, the sale of the product or service, and then the completion or providing that product or service, and doing that in an efficient manner.
I know a couple of small businesses and startups that are kind of just go every day because they are trying to get to the next level, but I don't think that they have processes. What do you recommend when everyone's super busy and there's not enough time, I guess, because you're always trying to get to the next thing? You build processes. For
sure. So startup is that phase where we've got less people doing more work, right? Everybody's doing multiple hats. I think one of the important things to understand is just because we don't have a person in a specific title or, on the accountability, we use the accountability chart in my coaching practice, not organizational chart. We use an accountability chart. Like this person is accountable for this, right? So just because the owner is also the marketing person or is also the salesperson doesn't mean you shouldn't define those roles separately so that when that person is acting in that role, they are sort of focusing on the most critical outcome for that role, right? So if you're the marketing manager and also the owner, also the salesperson or whatever, when you're operating as the marketing manager, your most critical outcome, or what is the most critical outcome of that seat, is what you're focused on. That's sort of the first way to establish processes, to first get the titles and what they do completely defined so that the 5 or 6 things that person obsesses about in that seat are being done every single day.
Okay. That's a good tip. This is crazy what I found out, that you founded and scaled 11 businesses, including 7 acquisitions, 4 high value exits.
Yep.
How?
I think that's
and
a
what were
sickness.
they?
I think that's actually a sickness. I don't know how to avoid or stay focused maybe. But I have a lot of entrepreneurial friends that we'll talk about EO here in a minute, I'm sure. But a lot of entrepreneurial friends that have multiple businesses or have had multiple businesses. So I say that jokingly, but in all seriousness, I am an entrepreneur at heart, right? I love business. I love helping others grow their business. I love that sort of figuring it out, getting it to the next level kind of thing. And over my 35-year career of doing that, having my own business is not quite as fulfilling to me as helping others in their business, if that makes sense. It sounds sort of weird to say that. But out of 11, to answer your question, out of 11 businesses, 7 of those were in the home services space. So they were focused on things that, you think about the American economy, a lot of the money that we spend is on our nest, right? So whether we own the house or we rent the house, where we live, we're willing to spend more of our income on that. So I have, I guess out of those 11 businesses, 7 of them being sort of in that space, because I really feel like that's economically inelastic. My last business was a swimming pool service company. So we service 2,000 pools every single week, 60 employees, 600,000 pools in the Phoenix Valley. So it was a good business, but I sold that 3 years ago. And now I just coach and help other people grow their businesses.
What makes you move on to the next thing? When do you know it's time to do something else? Get kind of bored?
Yeah, what I mentioned is sort of a sickness. I think I made mistakes early on in my career of selling businesses too soon, or even wound a couple of them down, right? So maybe doing that too soon. And now I make all those decisions based on very analytical data, right? This is what it's doing, and really do that kind of thing on very analytical data. I will say that the whole aspect of when to sell a business depends a lot on the individual, right? So is it still feeding you as an individual? Is it dragging you down? Are you not excited about your business? What actually kills or ruins most businesses is not a product doesn't work or a service doesn't work. It's the founder getting disenchanted. That happens a lot.
Okay. How do you stop that from happening? Because I'm sure there's ups and downs in every business, and there's some really bad downs. How do you get out of those rock bottoms?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of different things. First of all, you have to really, as the owner, the founder, or the leadership team, you have to really, really know what the just cause of the business is. What is the reason? What are we doing, right?
Your why.
Yeah, what is the why? And you have to really build the core values around that for that business. So that's number one. The other thing is, I think all businesses should be set up to give you a return on life, right? So it's not, you shouldn't feel like I'm working 70 hours a week in this business, I'm missing my kids' soccer games, I'm not really on vacation. I don't know how many owners or leadership team members I talk to that, they take a vacation, they go to Hawaii for a week, and they immediately open up their laptop when they get on the airplane and start working, or they're on their phone the whole time their kids are in the pool, right? So really setting up a business so that you get that return on life should be done very early on, so it allows the founder, the leadership members to sort of have that time to grow and work on the business and not just be drugged down by it. That's critical. It doesn't matter if you're never going to sell a business. If you're like, this business I'm going to turn it over to my kids in 30 years, all businesses should be set up to run on their own. They shouldn't rely on any one person. And when you set up a business that way, then it helps avoid that owner burnout or that critical team member burnout.
Yeah,
return on. I call it return on life. You should be able to get a return on life. It's the effort and money you put in. It's not like a return on investment. It's the effort and money you should get put in. You should get a return on life.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not a CEO, but I think that might be hard, especially when, let's say, this business that you have created is your baby, and it might be hard to let go of certain tasks or things to other people.
It is. Delegation is a skill, and it's something that is very important. All business leaders need to learn delegation. It's a very important thing. When it's the job of the leader to make good leaders, right? Mm-hmm. Great leaders make great leaders. So it's not the job of the leader just to do tasks or tell people to do tasks. It's to help that person. It's to help them do better. And delegation is a hard thing, very hard thing.
Okay, so you do coaching full time now?
I do.
You're part of the Next Level Growth coaching. Could you go over what that entails and what kind of businesses do you coach?
Yep, for sure. So Next Level Growth is a coaching firm based here in Phoenix. We have about 90 clients at the moment. I think we have 8 guides total now servicing those clients. The way we do that is, like me personally, I work with the leadership team on just finding things in the business that are maybe stuck, or things that we can do to help get that business to the next level, and hence the name, and grow. We have 108 different tools that we help businesses with. So different problems they might be having in the business. And we sort of do that in quarterly sprints, if you will. So to work for one quarter, we focus on this, and the next quarter we focus on the next thing. Now, there's plenty of business coaches out there. What we do differently, I think, because we do this operating system of the business. You mentioned the processes and all that. We help people establish that. But what we really do differently is all of our guides have had significant businesses. There's nobody in the coaching firm that doesn't have a significant experience. All of our guides have grown businesses of $10 million in revenue or above. So we've all sort of been to that point. Like myself, my largest business was $47 million in annual revenue. We've been through the hard times, right? There's nobody in there that hasn't experienced the struggles and the issues that come with that. And the gray hairs that I have, or the few hairs that I have left, it's my sort of personal ability or job, I think, for my clients to sort of help them avoid some of those things and help them grow. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. I focus on home services or construction or those kind of businesses. I'm the wrong guy for a restaurant owner. We have amazing coaches that have owned restaurants in the past, right? So somebody's a restaurant owner, then I refer that to someone else. But I largely focus on that sort of home services, construction, logistics kind of businesses.
Okay. What is something that you see business owners make mistakes on? What's something people can learn from?
Well, and I touched on this a little bit when we started talking about this most critical outcome or obsessions of a seat. Most businesses make the mistake of having a job description that's like 30 bullet points long, right? It's like, we're hiring for this position. Here's the 30 things we want this position to do. And so it's confusing. It's not actually what we want the position to do. We're hiring this person. And I think part of that is just that owners think, well, we're paying this salary, so why they should do this too, right? That's sort of a mistake. We like to focus on getting that sort of accountability chart correct, getting a most critical outcome that, let's just say that you're hiring for a sales manager, right? Like the most critical outcome that sales manager thinks about all day long. And then we call them obsessions, right? So 5 to 6 things that every person in that role should think about. They shouldn't think about 30 things because they're never going to do 30 things well. But if there's 5 or 6 things that we focus on, then the rest of it sort of, that's the thing I see almost all businesses have incorrectly done. Okay. Right? So that there's a long list, Jen, but that's definitely the one thing.
Yeah, I can kind of see why that happens, because like you said, when there's startups or new businesses, you want everyone to have multiple hats on things. Yep. And they just write it all down and be like, this is what you're going to do. So I guess pick the main points.
Yep. Focus on those, the obsessions for sure.
What have you learned about yourself from coaching?
Well, I've learned that I probably didn't listen well in the past, right? So I think, and this is the thing with EO too. It's like learning to listen first, not listen to respond, right? So what is the thing we're listening for? I think that's, part of my role as a coach is to sort of be there for a sounding board and an accountability partner, right? So when, somebody's having an issue, what can I listen and help them out with? But then also sort of be there as accountability partners. So like holding, hey, we said we were going to do this. Where are we at on that?
Okay. Do people sometimes not listen to you?
Well, human beings will make their decisions as they make them, right? Like anything, it's hard to tell somebody what to do. They have to sort of like decide to do that.
Yeah.
That's a misnomer that you can tell someone what to do. But I think in general, having that person that's, I use the analogy of the trainer, boxing trainer analogy. The bell rings and the boxer comes back to the trainer and he's wiping his eyebrow, the blood and whatnot. And he says, hey, the guy's dragging his left toe before he throws that right hook. And the boxer's just trying not to get killed out there, right? He doesn't see it. And now he goes back out there and he sees it and he ducks and he throws the left hook and knocks him out. That's sort of my role as a coach, is like, hey, what are you not seeing? So as a business owner, what are the things that you might not be seeing? That's sort of that peripheral stuff, right? Because you're focused right in front of you on what you're dealing with all day long. Is there something that I can help you with that you might not be seeing? And then from there, you can kind of decide to use that information as you would.
Yeah, I like that. What's something that you have found super exciting or surprising about a business?
Well, there's always something unique. It doesn't matter what the business is. All businesses have their own DNA, right? So sort of like finding out what the DNA is of that business. Sometimes it's how the leadership team interacts with each other. It's how the owner is with their employees. It's the specific product or something that's unique, right? So figuring that out and helping find a market that sees value in that and wants to pay for that. I think is a big value for sure.
Yeah, if the personality of a business owner makes a difference, if someone is willing to take action and execute it, they might go a longer way than someone else who just has talent but is not going to execute on it.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
100%. Yeah, the personality makes all the difference as it comes to interaction of the team, for sure, 100% of the time. We talk about entrepreneurs, an entrepreneurs organization that I'm a president of in Arizona. We have this thing called Forum, right? Forum is a group of business owners, 6 to 8 people typically, that meet once a month. And in that forum, everybody has a different personality, right? They're all business owners, all with their own personalities. But what comes out of that different information coming out of that forum, if somebody brings a problem or an issue, to forum that day, all the different personalities probably see things a little bit differently. I like that aspect of business owners having different personalities because you get the different layers and different ways to look at things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that, we're going to talk about Entrepreneurs Organization. I have a couple of numbers that I found online. It says there's about 20K members, 220 chapters in 61 countries, an average of 4 million in sales per business. Can you tell me a little bit about the organization?
For sure. So we call it EO. It stands for Entrepreneurs Organization. It was founded, close to 40 years ago, I think, 38 years ago. It's 20,000 members, as you state, all across the world, chapters all across the world. And it's businesses that have a certain threshold in revenue and above, right? So not like super startup, super small business. It's small to medium-sized businesses and up. And I think that stat, you're right on. I think 4 million is the average, but we have a lot of businesses that are below that, and then some that are above that too. And basically what it is, it's sort of like Fight Club for entrepreneurs, right? It's like that special place that you go. I mentioned Forum. It's this group of people that you meet once a month. It's 100% confidential in that space. So business owners, they don't have someone to go to. You don't go to your employees and say, hey, we're struggling to meet payroll. We might not meet payroll on Friday, right? Or you don't go home to your significant other and say, the mortgage is going to be real thin. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the payment this month, right? Little things like that, you hold in. And this is a place to bring the 5% that you wouldn't talk about with anyone else. Like, we don't talk about the weather. We talk about the 5%. That stuff that we don't have a place to talk about with. Everybody in that room is around the table as another entrepreneur, have the same issues or similar issues that you do. So it's this place to sort of that, right? So that's key. So Forum is amazing. And then outside of that, we have learning events. We just had an event a couple weeks ago. Jesse Itzler, founder of Zico Water, married to Sarah Blakely, Spanx founder, was here speaking. And we bring in speakers like that to have really awesome learning events as well. EO Arizona is about 200 members, and we have sort of two levels. We have the accelerator level, which is that small kind of startup business, and then we have regular EO. I'm president this year. We're one of 17 chapters in the West.
Wow, that's so cool. Do you think that like business owners are depressed? Is that what makes this group a good thing for people? Because I can see it, like, you're not going to tell your employees any of this like negative things, but you're just one person. Who else are you going to talk to? This is a good group.
I don't know if I would say depressed necessarily, but it's that thing of not having a place to go, right? Like not having the same people with the same problems, right? Your friends that are, have a job that don't have any risk. It's a little different than the business owners that, every single day everything's at risk, right? So somebody could get hurt and sue you. Like business owners have a lot of stuff that we deal with every single day, and it hits different in a group of the same people, for sure.
If you tell like your significant other all these things, they might be supportive, but I don't think they would understand exactly what's going on or how you actually feel.
Yep, it's for sure a thing. Yep, it's nice to have that spot. We also have forums for SLPs, or for significant life partners, as well. So they have their issues as well. Like living with an entrepreneur is hard. So it's important. They have space to sort of interact and have their own forums as well. But we have lots of really good events throughout the year. We have 10 to 12 learning events. The forums meet once a month typically. Depends on the forum, but on average that's that sort of thing. And then globally we have global events as well. So we just did an event in Norway where we had 100 entrepreneurs from all over the world met in Norway and had went around and explored Norway. So it was super.
That's cool. How did you become a president? Like, what was your timeline and process through the whole thing?
Yeah, so I've been in EO Arizona for 10 years, and the process of becoming president is, first of all, you spend a lot of time giving back in the chapter, right? Different board members. It's entirely a volunteer organization, so I make a big fat $0 for all my volunteer work. But you spend time, you serve on the board in different roles. We have about it depends on the year, but 14 to 16 person board. We are a 501(c) nonprofit organization, so it's the fiduciary responsibility of the board to return everything back in member value. And so the board sort of is in charge of that. And so you spend multiple years in different things on the board, and then, eventually raised my hand for president and was nominated and ran a couple of years. I didn't get it the first time, and this last year I was elected. And we have an election process that we go through. So.
That's really cool. Is it like once a year?
Yep. It's a 1-year term for president. You serve 1 year as president-elect. So you do a lot of groundwork and work in there, and then 1 year as president, sort of running the board and serving as president.
So there are specific qualifications that you need in order to be in these groups. Can you talk a little bit about them? I know, like, you have to be some kind of founder or owner of a company, a certain amount of revenue.
Yep. So you have to be a founder or a equal share partner, not a minority partner in the business. You need to have revenues of $1 million annually or above for EO at large, and then for EO Accelerator, it's $250,000 annually or above. And then that's sort of the requirements to get in, and then from there we have an application and interview process. So we go through the application, and then there's an interview process to determine if not everybody gets in, but to determine if they're a good fit, that they're good human being, that kind of thing.
Okay, and you were talking a lot about the accelerator. What is the difference between that and like the regular one?
Two things. Largely, the first one is obviously the income. So the gross revenue is $250,000 minimum instead of $1 million. And then the second thing is, with the accelerator membership, you get sort of a coaching built in. So you get an EO member like myself that manages the group, or like we talked about forums earlier, so they call them accountability groups in Accelerator. There's an EO member that's sort of the accountability coach and runs that group. There's a bit of a built-in sort of coaching aspect to Accelerator. EO, there is not. So EO, it is a forum of your peers. There's no, like, there's a moderator, but no paid coach or moderator.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the two significant differences. But really, if you think about it, Accelerators is for like startups, businesses that are getting their, maybe somebody that's never owned a business before. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, fundamental stuff and technical stuff that happen in Accelerator that really helps out.
I like that. I like the built-in coaching from other people that have done more in revenue.
Yep.
I also see that there is EO's female founders that account for 15%, and 25% of leadership positions, 27% of board of directors, which I think is great. Yep. Is there any strategies that you guys are doing to raise those numbers? What do you think of the level of inequality between like men and women and other races that are out there?
Yeah, so this is an ongoing thing that we push on every single year from a membership perspective, right? Like, it's been a personal goal of mine to raise the amount of women entrepreneurs. We have amazing female entrepreneurs in Arizona, and worldwide, right? So we have done a pretty good job of getting that number up. So we were at about 10%. It's, I think we're at 18 now in Arizona, but that number is not big enough, right? So we're constantly, we have an event called Women of EO that focuses entirely on females, and we're doing numerous things in the local community to try and encourage more females to apply, and all different races as well. We have a pretty good cross-section of what Arizona looks like in the chapter, but I personally feel like there's way more female founders out there than are applying to our organization. Like, what can we do to get more people through the door, more females through the door?
Do you have any ideas on why that happens? It's not just in this group, but all across different organizations. And because when I go to networking events, there are women, but it's just like a lot more men. Where are we? Why are we not out there?
I don't know. I think one of my theories is that females at a founder level are a bit scrappier. They clawed harder, right, than maybe their male counterpart did. And so I know female founder friends that I know that are just like, hey, look, I'm standing on my own and I don't need an organization around me. And to me, that's like the wrong way to think about it. Well, yeah, but if you're involved, you can help other females that may not feel the same way. That's a little bit surprising to me, but I can sort of see why that is, because, they're like, hey, I clawed harder, I worked harder, whatever, right? So there's some of that, I think. And then I think with any organization, as a female, it can be intimidating to come in with more men there. But I will say that I think EO does a really good job of trying to make sure that it's not just because you're female or just because you're male. Everybody is there on their own merit, right? Yeah. The females that are the founders that are there, they're there because they're badass. This is not just to check a box. These are badass, right? We need more of that. We have a chapter ambassador that's trying to find other ways for us to get more. But it's really applications. We need more females to apply. I hope that people listening to this podcast hear that. We need females to apply, because that's really the issue. Yeah,
for sure. And I'm always looking too.
Yes.
Okay, how has EO helped you personally?
It's helped me in a lot of ways. I mentioned just having that forum there. Went through the death of my parents. I went through divorce. Just having people there to sort of support me in that 10-year journey, right? My mother had an aneurysm and passed away. Really hard time in my life. That forum around there, just as that group of people to lean on, has really, really made a significant difference. And then just the learning events that have been at the right time is learning about something that helped me get to that next thing or that next phase of life.
Oh, I like that. Do you have any mentors or people you look up to?
Yes, for sure. And so we have a whole mentoring program in EO. There's another organization called YPO that is businesses of $10 million in revenue and above. Not affiliated with EO, but similar, right? We have mentors out of that organization that mentor our members. I have mentors from there as well. But we have a full organized mentorship program that is really, really beneficial.
That's awesome. What motivates you?
Well, wow, that's a hard question. Yeah. What motivates me to get up in the morning and to go to work? I think what motivates me is probably, and this sounds corny, but probably to just be a little better than I was yesterday, right? And I try and think about that when I, work out. And at my age, much different than you, is everything hurts a bit more these days. I don't recover quite the same, but I think that's like a personal motivation for me is, hey, look, let's just do a little bit better than we did yesterday. I think from a work perspective, like my coaching, what motivates me is really helping people sort of unlock the value of their business again and really, fall back in love with their business and get to that next level or get to that thing that they want. And just, nothing better for me than when a client says, hey, look, I was able to, go to my kid's soccer game on Thursday afternoon and I haven't done that in years, right? So like little stuff like that just is very rewarding to me.
That sounds so fun to then like mentor someone and then they come back in a week and they're like, oh my God, I did this, or we have this much revenue, or I get to see my kids now.
Yeah, it's so good. And I have a business that I coach in California that they're bringing people up from the organization, people that were blue collar jobs, like working hard for years and years and are like coming up through the organization and sort of like helping establish that so other people get opportunities. I believe as small business in America, it's our responsibility as owners of small business to create opportunity, right? So the opportunity for others to have a good job, to have a consistent income, to get health insurance, whatever. Like there's a list there, but it's on the backs of small business. And I think that's my responsibility as a coach to help people do that better, right? So they can give other people opportunity.
Oh, I love that. Okay, what's a struggle you're facing right now?
Struggle that I'm facing right now is I don't really like to talk about myself, and it's really hard to get new clients without doing that, right? So from a coaching perspective, so to like, I don't know, new business development for me as a coach is really hard because you literally have to go talk to people about myself, right? About my experience and about all those things. And so that's a struggle for me. I love coaching, absolutely love it. And for me, that is the entire like benefit of everything. But I really struggle with acquiring customers, and that's my struggle.
You seem to be doing pretty good right now.
Well, hopefully people see the genuineness, and I'm happy to help out wherever I can.
For sure. I think that's also a struggle of mine. You have to advertise yourself basically, and I'm not really good with social media, even though I'm so young or whatever, but I don't want to be on there and talk about myself.
Yeah.
So
it's a struggle. It always is. So it's interesting to hear you say that. It feels good to know that other people struggle with the same thing.
Oh yeah. So it's like super cringy.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so you seem like someone that doesn't sit still and likes to live life to the fullest. What are your future goals, and where do you see yourself next, personally, professionally? I know that you love to travel.
Yep. Well, professionally doing what I'm doing, I love it. So that, helping more people, finding a way that I can help more people, that's definitely my goal. Personally, I've been to 70 countries. And so I've been to all 50 states. I've been to 12 states in Mexico.
So jealous.
I love to travel. So, personally, that's, a goal of mine is to, get to 100 countries at some point. But, continuing to do that, I think experiencing other cultures in other parts of the world and finding ways to sort of integrate that into my personal life is a big benefit of travel.
That's cool. A couple more questions here. What do you like to read or watch to stay informed or for fun?
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm an Andrew Huberman guy. I listen to Andrew Huberman a lot. Like biohacker kind of podcasts, I guess, is part of that, and then some entrepreneur podcasts as well. I am not a big reader, which people don't understand, right? But I definitely listen to books and do some reading, but I have friends that read a book a week, and it's just not who I am. That's just not who I am. Like podcasts for me, I get a lot better information out of that, And so that's sort of what I like. Was
Yeah,
that
and
the
then I
whole
feel like
question?
you can also multitask while you're listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
A book, you have to kind of sit there and
You have to think
just
about it a
read.
bit more. Yeah. I like
Um,
sort of back and forth kind of thing about a podcast too. Like I feels like it sinks in a bit more for me.
yeah. Well, part of that question was, or what do you watch?
Oh, what I
Or,
watch.
yeah.
So we go through different TV shows, right? Right now we're on a Big Bang Theory kick, which is, an old show from way back when. But I love Big Brother, which is, I don't know, that's sort of weird, but reality
Random.
TV. Yeah. I've been watching that since it started. But so yeah, those are sort of my thing. I, I, I do like a little bit of reality TV once in a while.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Um,
How about you?
oh,
What are you watching? Maybe there's something I need to think about.
I don't know. Love Island.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so good. Oh,
yeah.
okay. So, what is something you want to leave the listeners with? Information about your projects or last inspirational words?
I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm happy to help out wherever I can. If somebody wants to reach out and just go to coffee or just have a phone call, I'm not the kind of guy that charges for that kind of thing. I'm like, if I can find a way to help you out, I'm happy to do that. The easiest way to find me is on Next Level Growth's website. So just nextlevelgrowth.com. And then you can go under guides or just /, I think it's /Chad Nikkel probably. But yeah, that's the easiest way to find me. Obviously I'm on social media platforms as well, and LinkedIn. But if anywhere I can help out, that would be, I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, and then last question. What do you love about Arizona? What specific local business or location?
Oh yeah,
That's
there
a
you
hard
go.
one.
There's a lot of good ones. So what I love about Arizona, I love the weather now, right? I'm a
Oh,
warm
yeah.
weather guy, so it's like still warm enough, I'm like in January I'm going to be, complaining that it's too cold. Uh, so I
At
really love
what, 50 degrees?
right. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's too cold. Yeah, so I really like the weather now. It's still like 85, 90 degrees. I love that a lot about Arizona. I love to hike, so we hike a lot. And then a location, something that I really like in Arizona, two things. So Dick's for brunch, which is amazing. They have amazing carne adobada, which is unbelievable. There's like no places to sit in that place, but it's awesome. So if you've ever been there, and then one of my favorite restaurants is Zinc Bistro, which is this French place up in North Scottsdale and Kierland. That's awesome. So
Okay, I'll check those out.
yeah.
Where do you like to hike?
So I do Gateway quite a bit. Piestewa Peak. We have this thing we call it Dirt Church. We hike every Sunday morning, and we don't really talk about church stuff. We just hike, and it's us, right? So we do Piestewa Peak quite often on Sunday mornings, and that's a good hard hike. That is not that's not an easy one, right? So
Yeah.
so we do that one, and Gateway is a fun hike of mine.
Okay, well, those were all my questions. It was really nice to meet you. I learned a
Same here.
lot.
I love it. Thanks for having me, Jen. I appreciate it.
If this episode inspired you, do me a favor, hit subscribe or follow on your podcast app. It's the best way to support. And if you know someone who'd love this conversation, share it with them. That's how we keep growing and creating this huge community of business builders and big thinkers. Thanks for hanging out with me today at Gen Store. See you next time.